Yeah! Right about now, what's up? It's time for the real nigga roll call. Now when you hear your city or state being called, what? You put your motherfucking middle finger up in this bitch. ATL, St. Louis, Alabama, Chicago, the Carolinas, DC, Bay Area, Miami, New York, Vegas, Texas. Y'all niggas crazy, fuck my niggas home. 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 Motherfuck that nigga, motherfuck that bitch. 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 Y'all niggas more flexing that, flaunting that bitch.
Yes, sir. You already know what it is, man. We are back here to serve some more Game on the Ground from Hungry Hounds. We just got up the pound and are ready for the next round. With that being said, y'all can see the title of this episode, this live, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be looking at MYRON games, and then we're going to be checking out a video with Shia LaBouf talking about the industry and whatnot. So this should be interesting. So MYRON was talking about going over, he talked about a plethora of things, but the section I want to check out is him talking about Andrew Tate's ex-girlfriend or whoever who is trying to accuse him of abusing her and whatnot and all this other dumb shit. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this up on stage and we finna jump into it, man. With that being said, make sure y'all grab your snacks, y'all drinks, y'all weed, whatever the fuck the case may be, and we finna jump right into this episode.
Look. We're planning something big. Okay? We're planning something big. And it's gonna be lit. All right? Also, guys, keep in mind, just with some common sense, us sitting around a table and making fun of women during his current legal situation probably isn't a good look. All right? So just be patient. We're gonna make it happen. All right? And you guys are gonna see some good stuff come out very, very soon. That's what I'll say. All right? So let's go ahead and get into the story at hand, guys. All right? So this broke a couple of days ago. I remember I was live on air and you guys told me, did you hear about the new case? And I was like, what are y'all talking about? And, I started doing some digging on this girl and all this other stuff. And, very interesting stuff that she didn't mention. But this is the first thing that made me kind of go, right? So Andrew Tate lawsuit, X says he choked with one hand and hit her with the other, threatened to kill me, right? And this story broke out a couple of days ago, right? And TMZ was the first people to put it down. For those that are unaware, TMZ is basically like a media company that's extremely, for my international viewers, because I know I got a lot of international people here. They break a lot of stories, right? They're based out of LA. They break a lot of stories. It's not uncommon to see that TMZ will be the first to break a huge story and get the exclusive, and then everybody else kind of follows them. But TMZ pays, okay? There's a reason why people go to them first a lot, especially when it comes to Los Angeles. They pay. And when I saw that a TMZ article hit first, I immediately was like, all right, okay, something's off here. Because if you're going to TMZ first, you're trying to get paid, right? That was the first thing that made me say, all right, something is wild here, right? So that's step one. Some bitch ass nigga in the chat, Dean Anderson, we know TMZ, move on. Shut the fuck up, dude. All right, let me get some ground rules here, because you might be new here, nigga. I have a lot of people that watch me that are international, that don't fucking understand American media and American culture and laws and shit like that. So I explain everything, even to a remedial person that might not live in the United States. So shut the fuck up, Dean, or whatever the fuck your name is, Dean Anderson, Dean Cockerson. Shut the fuck up.
Damn.
But I digress. Anyway. So, when I saw that she went to TMZ immediately, I was like, all right, this chick is trying to get paid, right? Also, keep in mind that the events occurred weeks prior. That also made me suspicious as well. All right? So let's go ahead and read. I met Andrew Tate in the summer of 2024. They've been together for damn near a year then, or known each other for a year. And we're in a relationship for almost a year. We met because he needed models for his crypto coin, and I needed lessons on crypto to save my coin sister. Keep that in mind, guys. Sister. We spent as much time together as we could, but when we weren't physically together, we were in communication all day, every day. He was my best friend. I stood by his side unwaveringly. We made plans to live together, first in Romania and then in Miami once he traveled to America.
First of all, Andrew Tate says that he don't let any of his women live with him because he doesn't. When your woman live with you, it's almost like for the average person, the dude will start to settle down, slow down, and start getting lazy and whatnot because all he wants to do is lay up in bed up his female's ass all the time. And Andrew didn't want to be like that. So he said that he don't let his women live with him. Now, unless he changed his mind, which I doubt that he did, I think the only female that he would let live with him would be his main chick. So, I don't know. That's the first thing that I noticed.
We wanted to start a new life together. Once he arrived in the U.S., he wanted me to have his children and always told me we would be together forever. Andrew told me he loved me every day and I was very much in love with him despite the fact that he hurt me so badly. I still love him. Maybe that is Stockholm Syndrome. I don't know. The last time I saw Andrew was on March 11, 2025 at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Last words he said to me before I left the hotel were, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. You will never backtalk me. You are my property." Based.
Welcome, punch!
The last time I saw Andrew, and then due to the events that had transpired in the early mornings of that day, as well as his final degrading words, something just clicked. I finally recognized that someone, right? And that's like the full, this is like her dumbass document here. Where were we? I finally realized that someone who truly loved me wouldn't say those things to me or hurt me repeatedly the way that he did. Okay. I think for the first time I realized the gravity of the situation. This wasn't a joke or an internet facade. This was the reality of my boyfriend in my life, and I needed to take back control. "You are my property," echoed in my mind, and I knew that was not the future I wanted for myself or my future children. It was not easy, but I gathered the courage to do what I had contemplated doing for a long time. Leave him. I grabbed my things and walked out of the hotel and out of our relationship. That day, even though I was terrified, I made a promise to myself that I would not go back. No matter what he said, no matter what he did, I blocked his numbers, blocked him on all social media platforms, and on all communication apps. I went to a doctor, I went to the police. The last week has been very difficult and extremely scary for me. I am an emotional wreck and I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm not the person I was before. Andrew texted me recently and let me know, if you ever betray me, you will regret it. He has told me on many occasions before that if I crossed him, he would ruin my life, rape me, or kill me. Coming out about this is really terrifying in all aspects. The entire situation is very traumatic and extremely difficult. I considered many times just silently leaving Andrew and saying nothing, doing nothing, because I was scared and because it was honestly hard for me to accept that I was being abused. Yeah, you didn't do that though, because you wanted the...
That's facts.
I can now see that doing so would be the cowardlier approach. Oh, now she's gonna make her necessity a virtue. Okay. I know I can't be silent. I have to make my voice heard, no matter how difficult that road may be. I also know there are many women out there who are in the same position as me, terrified and scared, who are being hurt by the person who is supposed to love them most. To those women, I say, you are much stronger than you know. I know firsthand how hard it will be to even talk about it, but I urge you, find your voice. You are not alone. Walk away and take control of your life while you still can. I will not publicly go over the details of my relationship with Andrew Tate. Bitch, you just did. Fuck you talking about? I will not publicly go over the details of my relationship with Andrew. Bitch, you just did. Like what? Anyway. I know he and his followers will insult and attack me. I don't care because I speak the truth. I will not comment further about Andrew Tate beyond what my lawyer has set forth in detail in my lawsuit. Those facts speak for themselves. Well, that's what she said, but she went and did an interview with NBC, right? Another big red flag. Oh, I'm not going to talk about this more. Bitch sits down with NBC and does an interview. Right? So, let's go back to the TMZ article. So,
You can't make it up, bro. They always say they're going to do. They're not going to do something, and they go out and do it anyways. They're trying to look professional in one spotlight, but then they're going to go out on the big spotlight so they can get all that attention, just so they can build up, their social medias and get hella money and this, that, and the third. And it's just like, bro, the internet is all one big acting stage.
Bree Stern just shared her full statement on Instagram, laying it all out there and saying in part, those facts
Rarely will you ever find anything that has very much truth in it anymore. Or to it, I should say.
speak for themselves. Now, just so you guys know, not only did she go to Instagram with this shit, she also went to Twitter with it as well. And we got it over here. All right? Her dumbass tweet. Right? Long ass tweet. Which, by the way, funny enough, this chick blocked me. Bro, I didn't know who this woman was. Look at this shit. The Bree Stern has blocked you. Like, I have no idea who this girl is, bro. I just, found her shit and I was blocked already. I was like, oh, okay. I guess she knows who I am. Anyway, Andrew Tate choked his girlfriend, Bree Stern, with one hand and used his other mitt to beat the crap out of her face, according to a lawsuit. Bree is suing Andrew for sexual assault and battery and gender violence. And in her lawsuit, she goes into more detail on the alleged choking incident she filed a police report over. Right? These are some pictures. You guys can go ahead and make from that what you...
She looks like that Lily Phillips bitch who had just did some bullshit where she had 50 dudes. It's all over fucking Twitter. But that's who she looks like.
think. In the docs obtained by TMZ, Bree says they were having sex in his consensual sex in his room at the Beverly Hills Hotel when things suddenly changed and he started being verbally degrading and violent. Bree claims Andrew routinely degraded her during sex, but on this night, things were much worse. Okay, so that's important. He routinely degraded her during sex. So clearly there's a precedent here where she likes to be dominated and she likes certain activities in the bedroom.
Indeed, it's called a fetish.
Right? Routinely degraded her during sex, which means this has been a pattern. And they've been with each other for how long? A year? Almost a year? Bree's been seeing her for a year? Routinely. All right? She claims he started choking her and would not stop despite her crying and begging for him to stop, with her cries and screams only causing Tate to hurt her more. And then here's some text messages that she gave TMZ.
Bro, those could be messages between anybody. That whole messaging thing could be staged.
But again, when you don't have the full context, text messages can be very deceiving. Especially since we've seen this before, where, they'll post a screenshot where Andrew Tate says, oh yeah, I like raping you. And then they'll cut it there. But what they don't show you is right underneath that, she says, I love it. Or it's not grape if I like it. Right? So these text messages with Andrew Tate, notorious for girls cropping out certain parts of the conversation. Any text conversation can make you look crazy. Right? So there's a reason why she's only giving TMZ screenshots and she's not giving a full recording. Keep that in mind, motherfuckers. Okay? Because I covered this in detail before. If you guys remember with this criminal case, right? Out there in Romania, one of the exhibits that they used was text message conversation with one of the chicks, where he says oh, I love graping you, right? But the media, BBC and them, put out that text message. Then I got the actual full thread, and it showed how she said, oh, it's not grape if I like it. Right? Or, oh yeah, I love it, daddy, some shit like that. So, whenever you're having conversations like this with a woman where she likes you degrading her or whatever, clearly this is what she likes. They've been with each other for almost a year. She knows this is routine. That's what the word routine means. Anytime you're engaged in that kind of conversation, all they have to do is get just snippets of the text conversation, and then it's going to make you look crazy.
That's facts, bro. People are extremely deceiving. And this is why, as a man, especially in today's society, in today's generation, you have to be extremely careful with what you do, what you say, all that, because it could all just come back on you in an instant and you wouldn't even see it. It's wild, bro. People are out here for money. That's all they care about. All they care about is money. Money, status, all that. They don't care about nothing else. They don't care about you. They don't care about your well-being. They don't care about how you're doing. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your emotions. They don't care about nothing. The only thing they care about is money and themselves. Everybody else be damned. That's 100% facts, and that's crazy, man. It's crazy that it's like that, but that's how today's society is. You know, the Bible predicted it. In I think Revelation talks about how people will turn cold. People will, you know, children will become disobedient to their parents. It'll be father against son, mother against daughter, brother against brother. Uh, People will start to worship false idols. You know, they'll love money more than they love God. They'll love lust more than they love love. They'll chase lust more than they chase love. All that stuff, bro. God said this was going to happen. And it's happening right in front of your face. And y'all don't see it because you're too busy participating in it. And it's wild. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is your boy, Shia LaBeouf. Look at Eminem's ugly ass. Shia LaBeouf, where are you at? There you are.
Before.
Jesus saved me. Shia LaBeouf exposes the Hollywood elite. Let's get into it.
Or I would drink and I wouldn't get drunk, or I would have sex with random women and I wouldn't feel any joy. There was none of the things I was doing to fill that human instinct were being fulfilled.
Indiana Jones, the trilogy of Transformers, Disturbia, and Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
These are just a few among the important films you took part in.
Yeah, these are the big money movies. These are the international movies that may have come here, but these movies don't mean anything. They have no intrinsic value. They have no spirit. They don't mean anything. Entertainment. So all these movies, I have big shame about these movies. They don't mean anything. I don't act no more. I'm not interested in making movies, really. I think my God is very intelligent. My God used my weaknesses to bring me closer to him. And I felt like I was living a life that was meaningless. And so I drank a lot and smoked a lot of weed. Very lascivious with women.
I'm gonna lie, bro. I don't know why it's whoever put this together is like got all these flashes going on. It makes it almost like hard to believe that, you know, what he's saying is true. Like what he actually said, because, you know, I mean, who knows? It could have been cut up and clipped together, but who knows? Maybe not.
And was trying to like fill a hole, just constantly chasing instincts, just like an animal, and thought I was in control of things.
Maybe it's for copyright reasons too, who knows.
And I was in an industry that would applaud that. And so I would come to set and I would freak out in front of a camera, ooh, and people would clap, and then I'd go home and I'd be a crazy person. And I hurt people, was a big sinner in my life, and grew up believing that that was the way. And then all of the things that I used to use to fill my that emptiness up stopped working. And then I didn't want to be alive anymore. So in the States we have something called Zoom. I don't know if you have it. And I had a producer. I had gotten arrested in Georgia for fighting with a policeman.
The producer was arrested?
No, I was arrested making a movie in Georgia for fighting with a policeman. And on that movie was a producer who was in a spiritual program that helps people who have a problem with alcohol. And he told me to go on this meeting. So I go on this meeting and I see 50 men smiling and laughing. And that's my first sign of God, is laughter. And so
You know, I remember him talking about this a little bit on the Real Ones podcast with your boy John Bernthal. You know, he was going through his whole he was recapping his journey, you know, the piece of shit that he was to where he's at now.
I listen because I don't have any laughter in my life. And I see they're laughing with each other, and they have friendships, and they have camaraderie, and they have this fraternity. And I feel like, ooh, this is like a family. I have been making these movies all this time to build a family, making money to get a family, but my family was disaster, and I'm seeing a family, and I had tried to do this before, but this time I had none of the tools that used to bring me joy or fill that hole up worked anymore. And one of these men in the meeting, he says, we all share, everybody shares in the meeting. And one of the men in the meeting says, you don't have everything you want, but you have everything you need right now. And he says, if you have God in your life, you're playing with loaded dice. God cheats in your favor. I'm going to this meeting a couple days, and finally my spiritual guidance, my friend, my partner online, says, come meet me at the beach. And I have no God in my life because my idea of God is just fear. And this man is talking from a fearless place, so I believe him. And he points at the ocean, at the waves, and he says, I know you don't believe in God, that's okay. So why don't you just try to stop the waves? And I said, what do you think, I'm stupid? Like, okay, yeah, I know I can't stop the waves. I'm not an idiot. Okay. He says, I know. Oh, wait. He says, I know you can't, I know you don't believe in God, that's okay, but your life is terrible. Your life sucks. The way you've been leading it is a disaster. Your life is a disaster. And I know he's right, and so I'm willing, because I'm in pain. And I say, stop waves, and the waves don't stop. And he says, no, put your back into it, really try. And I say, stop waves, and they don't stop. And he says, I just want you to pray to the waves until God shows up. And so I do. And then a month later, maybe a little bit longer than that, maybe a month and a half later, I'm on my meeting, and Abel Ferreira asks me if I know about Padre Pio.
So from that moment, there was a new research of God, and
No.
faith thought...
No, because I'm still a narcissist. Just looking at Padre Pio like, oh, this is another opportunity to make a movie.
Who is Jesus Christ for you?
Lord, the Redeemer, Savior, like a best friend.
Shia LaBeouf is
Let's go, man. That's 100% facts.
one of the most famous actors of the millennial generation, playing leading roles in some of the biggest movies of the early and mid-2000s, like Transformers and Indiana Jones. He's not acting much anymore. And frankly, how could he after he just completely...
He said, is this new? I don't know. When did this come out? I saw it and it was interesting. It caught my eye. This came out 2 weeks ago. This video was uploaded 2 weeks ago. So, the video itself is new. The clips could be old. Then again, the clips could not be old. I'm not sure when the clips were taken. But I do remember on the Real Ones podcast with John Berthal, he was talking about how he found God through shooting the movie. You know, which is also what he said here. His producer, through shooting the movie, his producer led him to God. So, I don't know, man. I hope this is like new, like recent new.
And unashamedly bash the emptiness of Hollywood in the clips I just showed you. But the 38-year-old father of...
He's on. There's no way in hell he's only 38 years old. Hold on, I gotta go see now. There's no way in hell he's only 38 years old. There's no way. He really is 38 years old, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
One's got over 60 acting roles under his belt, as well as writing, producing, and directing, and a net worth in the tens of millions. How God about his faith that Shia did after the release of
Good. And so through, I'm trying to live a more
famous. Thanks for joining us. Let's get into it.
How would you describe yourself now, the new Shia LaBeouf?
I know, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, It's crazy because, like, you can see when you look at him, he looks like he would be around his 30s. But it feels like he's been around for so long, you'd think he'd be in, like, his 50s or something. He was born in 86. I missed the question.
The new Shia.
Joining us, let's get into it.
How would you describe yourself now, the new Shia LaBeouf?
I'm very loved by God. I know that, and I want to love God better, and so I'm trying to live a more righteous life. There's things I need to change, and I'm working on it. And I feel like now my life has purpose. You know, I used to manipulate a lot, you know, and I used to lie a lot, and I don't want to do that. And so I get scared sometimes to be emotional. The things that kept me from the faith would be things that my logic couldn't reason around. Jonah in the whale. Stories like that are a different genre of the Bible, I would use to pick apart the whole Bible. I would discount the beauty of the forest because of the ugliness of some of its trees. And then pain makes you willing to stop arguing because joy feels good. And so through Pio, I'm able to look at the Gospels from a different perspective, less as an antagonist who's trying to pick the thing apart, and more of a believer. And
Let me go back real quick, because he said something.
Ugliness of some of his trees. And then pain makes you willing to stop arguing because joy feels good. And
He said pain makes you willing to stop arguing because joy feels good. That's some spiritual game right there, boy. If y'all pay attention and listen. Man. I love this side of Shia LaBeouf.
so through Pio, I'm able to look at the Gospels from a different perspective, less as an antagonist who's trying to pick the thing apart, and more of a believer. And now that I have felt, faith comes when you know. Faith and belief are different words. Belief is when you're willing to know. Faith is when you really know. I have no right to laugh and smile and joke like I do. My life on paper doesn't make sense that I laugh like I do. That's only because of God. When I go to church, I feel lighter. My wife is open to being baptized. My child will be baptized. I'd like to come here and have my child baptized here.
Let's go, boy. God for the win. Let's get it, man. Man, imagine if they somehow figured out a role for Shia LaBeouf to play in Chosen. That would be crazy. Dude, imagine if they had him play Paul the Apostle. That would be wild. I doubt it, but that would be absolutely wild. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows who they have cast for that role? But that would be a perfect fit, in my opinion. I think he would play that character. I think he would play the Apostle Paul perfectly, because his life is so. It reflects the Apostle Paul's journey from being a Christian persecutor, killing them, murdering them, whatnot, to now he's a Christian himself, going all around Judea, all around the world, almost the world, at least in that area of the world, preaching the gospel. He would be perfect for that role. I can't think of nobody else better for that role than Shia LaBeouf.
I have relationships with religious men now that I didn't have before.
And isn't that just wonderful? Now, I've really dug deep to find these interviews and structure them together in a powerful way. So if you're at this point of the video, two quick things.
I knew they were clipped together, bro.
Depot, trim
In love with Jesus.
I was at a stage of my program personally where I was desperately seeking a higher power. I was looking for something I could hold on to, something I could really hang my hat on. And this call from Abel came at this. It converged at the same time that I really wasn't interested in acting. So I'd given up on trying to be an actor. I was really going to go get a job at Home Depot and, like, you know, trim bonsai trees. I was straight out of rehab. I was sort of aimlessly driving around the country, living in my truck because I didn't want to go home because my house was empty. My wife wasn't with me. I had no family. My family wouldn't talk to me. I had no friends. My friends had abandoned me. I was full of shame and spiraling into a very dark place when the call came in. So because of the amount of pain I was involved in, and suffering that was going on in my life, aimless suffering, mind you, didn't really know what the point of the suffering was. I was living in deep resentment and regret and shame. And then this came to my doorstep, and it felt like, even before I knew about Christ and how he works or PO or any of this, it felt like something from on high. It felt like celestial mathematics or something I really couldn't actually. The coincidence of it all felt almost supernatural.
What an incredible.
Dude, it's just like, and I'm gonna have to you know, pause it here for the night. It's just like in Chosen season 1, I think it was episode 1 or 2, when Mary was about to jump off the edge, and the paper that she threw down turned into a dove and led her back to Jesus. He's always perfect with his timing. And I'm just glad and I'm happy that he found God and wasn't a demon didn't find him or Satan didn't find him and take advantage. I'm glad that he found God. That is 100% facts and not opinion, bro. That is 100% facts and not opinion. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. Make sure y'all share with y'all friends, y'all families, your mamas, your aunties, your grannies, and everybody else y'all know. I'm finna go ahead and get up on out of here. I'm gonna let Rev take it from here, and we finna bounce.
You're really serious and you're looking for a Christ man, the one who anointed with the Lord, with the Spirit of the Lord, to do his will. I'm that nigga.
Motherfucker, 'cause it's my world, and every motherfucking thing in it. That including your asshole, too.
Well, if God send the devil in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit, then motherfucker, you fucked up, huh? You fucked up, huh? You know your ass is doomed. What you got to speak? If you don't know shit to speak on this topic I'm bringing up, shut your goddamn ass up.
What do you say, Gerard, you ignorant slut?
I don't think I'm God. I ain't say I think I believe. I know, and if you study the words, you study my book, you will know I'm me too.
You didn't create the heaven and the earth, baby.
But I did. I'm that motherfucker. You know me, don't you?
Hell no, I don't want you.
You don't know me? That's shame on your goddamn ass then. Shit, I'm the motherfucker. Give a fuck what you believe in. Believe in you some goddamn Ku Klux Klans members, don't you? And house nigga, bitch made ass, nincome fucking poop, monkey minded, Afrocentric motherfuckers. You all call me and tell me your opinion.